What should you do as a Canadian if you want to play college soccer in the United States, specifically in NAIA or NCAA? I'm the college soccer guy and I help you play college soccer. So for a long time, I did not work with international students because the process was complicated, but I've gotten a lot better at what I do. And so now I can help what we call international students. And Canadians are considered international students. Here are the dilemmas you're going to have as an international student, specifically from Canada. Number one, you have to go to camps. That is non-negotiable, especially if you want to play Division I soccer. If that's the case, you have to travel far because you live traditionally far from those schools. Number two, the schools themselves will be more expensive for you. Because you're an international, the cost of school will cost more. Number three, the coaches, traditionally speaking, if you're not playing for Montreal, Vancouver, Toronto, the MLS teams, then you're limited to OPDL, probably is where you're playing, and you're going to want coaches to come to your games, and they are not going to come. Which basically means as a Canadian, unless you're playing on MLS Next or a team that's really highly ranked or maybe a prep school, but even then, we have a student right now who's Canadian in a type of prep school, they have to focus only on Division 3 and Division 2 at the beginning of the process. Because those schools can recruit you on video alone, they can recruit you from 1 or 2 ID camps, and Division 2 schools can invite you on trial where you can actually train with the team. NAIA schools can also do the same thing. NAIA schools can also give you more money and are traditionally have more international students. So NAIA is easier than NCAA. But if you want to go to a traditional NCAA program, we've helped Canadians do this. Having said that, it's more difficult for you. Now, just because it's more difficult for you doesn't mean it's not possible to play college soccer, but you have to basically make these promises to me if you want my help, or you have to make these promises to yourself if you want to get recruited. Number one, you have to go to multiple camps. I'm talking 8 to 15 camps a year if you want to play college soccer as a Canadian. That's number one. Number two, if you want to play college soccer in the United States, you have to be open-minded to Division 3. You don't have to be open-minded to NAIA if you don't want to, but you have to be open-minded to Division 3, Division 2. And if you want to play Division 1 soccer, you're going to have to go to probably a D1 camp of the individual school 3 to 4 times of that one D1 school to have a chance. And even then, they're going to ask you if you do well at camp, what's your schedule? You're going to tell them your schedule and you'll be limited. Now, if you happen to play against some prep schools because you're part of a Canadian prep boarding school type of scenario, then maybe there's a little bit of flexibility to the amount of times you can be seen. But even then, you're going to have to be seen constantly in a competitive environment, and an ID camp only counts as an environment where the coaches get to see you as a person, as a player from a training perspective, and up close, and guarantees being seen. The problem with showcases or coming to your game is you might be injured, you may not play, the coach may change their mind last minute. ID camps are like 100% you want to get seen by me, I will be there. But I can also tell you by the D1 schools, they will not recruit you. Now, if I want to go to a top academic D3 school or a very good D2 program, you can definitely play college soccer as a Canadian. Division 1 soccer, though, is almost out of the question unless, like I said, you are willing to go to their camps on a profuse basis, or if you start the recruiting process really early. If you're starting the recruiting process really early, like 8th, 9th grade as a Canadian, then you can play D1 soccer because then they'll get to know you over more time, and that's way more realistic. As a junior, though, if you have no interest from D1s, that's going to be very difficult, especially if you're living in Canada. Having said all that, I want to show you a student that I am working with so you can see what we're doing with him as a Canadian. And his parents had some very important questions that they had. So if you're a Canadian, you're going to want to watch this. If you want more help, give me a call, links in the bio. I'm going to jump on right after this, watch the video, and we'll talk in a minute. I wanted to address your email like face-to-face here because I think it'll be easier for you to understand. And then we'll dive deeper into it so we can find the right solution for you. So I've been in the CSG Academy since January, and I've gained a lot of knowledge, and I can use the Progress to College Soccer Pathway. Thank you for telling me that. It makes me very happy. We work very hard. Obviously, I notice all your messages. I read through them. We're responding to you, almost 24/7. We're always there. But yes, you have a question. However, recently I've been a little stuck with what to do in the future in terms of college soccer. Throughout my time in CSG Academy, I've still been confused with the mass email format. So thank you for telling me this. When you say throughout your time, unless you tell us you're confused, we can't help you. So if you've been confused for a long time, please let us know earlier so we can address it. At the end of the email, I say, I'm interested in learning more about you and your program. Below, I've attached my video. With your permission, I may attend your upcoming ID camp. To me, this does not make sense, as every single school I will send this to will not respond, or they will say yes. So, great question. A lot of the recruiting process is about getting genuine interest. In the college recruiting process, college coaches, frankly, to be upfront with you, don't make a lot of money. So if you say to them, I'm willing to come to your ID camp, or may I have permission to come, what we're saying to them is, I want to come to your ID camp. I'm willing to pay you money. I want you to look at my video. Now, in a perfect world, you would just say, Coach, I've attached my highlight video below. Could you please let me know what you think of it? If you like it, I will come to your ID camp. But they don't respond to that. And to your point, they either respond with don't respond at all, or they will say yes. If they say yes, the question is how they say yes. And I've been working with you and seeing your stuff. Sometimes they say, we really like your content. Sometimes they say, please come because we want to see more of you. You know, in your perspective, you've gotten not just the word yes, you've gotten genuine interest. And so that's why we have to phrase the question that way. I wish the recruiting process was clearer and, to your point, made more sense, meaning you could just say, here's my highlight video. Do you like what you see? And would you like to come? Now, you made another additional point here, but since we're in Canada, it's difficult to make that trip. So when we work with students, we try to be very clear. And if we haven't been clear, I apologize. You will have to go to ID camps, especially if you're from Canada. Therefore, do I say this regardless of my interest level or my likelihood of actually being able to attend? So to answer this question, it depends on how they respond. So if they responded to you saying, yes, come to the camp, then you don't have to necessarily go because they didn't show a lot of interest. If they respond with, we really liked your video, we want to see more of you, we need your position, then you should probably go for sure. Now, I can tell you this, if you want any chance of playing college soccer and pro soccer, which I know you talk about later in your email, you have to go to ID camps. There's non-negotiable. You're from Canada. The league that you're playing in is not known here in the United States as much as it should be. And unless you want to play, if you want to play pro soccer through the methods I want to show you, which is through college soccer, you have to go to camps. If you don't go to camps, you will not play college soccer. And if you say, well, I want to use a different strategy to do so, then at this time, you know, our methodologies don't fit. You have to go to ID camps. That is a non-negotiable. I've been very confused on this topic. I need some clear advice and direction. So thank you. I hope that was clear. Taking into this consideration, I always get the thought of how does this help me go professional? This is my main goal since my start with the CSG Academy. With that, would going into a smaller D1, D2 school increase my chances rather than trialing abroad? So good question. My expertise and my opinion, which is an opinion, is that unless you have a European passport, playing abroad is not realistic. I played abroad myself. I played in Sweden. I played in England for Fulham's Youth Academy. In fact, Fulham is the reason I think this method doesn't work if you go abroad without a European passport, because I went there without a European passport, and the moment I arrived, no matter how good I was, they said, unless you get adopted, get married, or play for the national team, you're not going to be able to sign for us. So I played pro soccer because of college. So would it be better if you played college soccer for UCLA, Stanford to go pro? Absolutely. But I didn't play at any of those schools, and you're not going to be recruited by any of those schools, just like I wasn't recruited by any of those schools. So because of that, if you want to play pro soccer, the only method I know how to help you with is if you play D1, D2. Unless you have a European passport, I think those are a waste of time. And even if they are a great experience, I don't think they're good for the fact that, you know, in our academy, we take education first and foremost, not going pro. We prioritize your education. And secondly, is if during this process you want to play abroad and you do go to one of those teams in England, they're going to send you to the 4th, 5th, 6th division. And, you know, maybe one day you could go pro. Where on the flip side, if you go play college soccer in the summertime, you get to qualify for something called USL2. All the USL2 teams are playing against professional teams or affiliated with a professional team. And that is how I went and played pro, is I played really well in USL2 because of college soccer. I then did not get drafted, went on many open tryouts, but because of playing at a small D1 school, which is where I played, they believed in my reputation, gave me trials. Eventually I trialed with 2 MLS teams, didn't make it, but it did eventually make a USL team. And then having made the USL team, I then went on to play at Toronto in MLS, where I was eventually cut, but I got to play pro. And that led to my contract in Sweden, because then I no longer need a European passport because I was deemed a professional soccer player. So they gave me a work permit. So from my perspective, the only way I can help you go pro is if you go to college in the United States. That is the only way I can help you. And the way we would help you is step number 1 is college soccer. Once you get into a college soccer team, then I would talk to you about what's it look like to play USL2. Once you're playing USL2, you need an internship, because even if you go pro, your first contract is going to be, and Angelo is a pro soccer player right now who you're speaking to regularly. He makes $900 a month. Okay, it is not enough money to survive. So you have to get an education, in my opinion, of course. Or you say, look, I'm going to have a wonderful experience abroad, and I'm going to go pay for or live in one of those companies, and I'm saying to myself, this is a great experience. Maybe I'll get to trial, but no matter what, I get this amazing experience abroad, getting to play in a professional environment in a stadium. But it's an experience. If you're going to go, that's going to help me go pro. I don't believe in those companies because, one, I was pitched it when I was your age, and they don't prioritize education, which is important to me. And then two, unless you have a European passport, it doesn't work. If you do have a European passport, then what you need to do is contact people within your community that are connected to teams abroad, and then you could go trial abroad as a French passport because that's different. Okay, then my highlight video is being majorly updated. I have much better clips from this preseason and half a season that I've already played. Jordan said I'm okay to use clips from a year and a half ago if they were really good goals. However, that does not make sense to me as I was so much younger playing against so much younger competition. Should I include clips from my preseason and my regular season that I just played? Good question. So Jordan is correct. College coaches, as much as you think they can tell if you're younger or not younger, it's hard for them to tell through video. The best clips are the best. So for example, my highlight video is full with JV soccer, because I have the best clips from JV soccer when I was playing high school. In addition, I mix it in with club soccer. So to answer your question, if you have better clips than you have now, you're more than welcome to add them to your highlight video, but that is not the main purpose. Coaches don't want to see any update on your already video that they've already potentially seen. What you should do, though, is you need to create every touch videos and a full game timestamp video of this new improved playing. So instead of updating your current video, which you're more than welcome to also do, you need to make a new highlight video that doesn't have to be as long. It's more of a 2 to 4 minute video, maybe even a 1 minute video where you're updating coaches. Hi, coach, just wanted to update you. I played really well in this game. Here you go. Now, because you're from Canada, you're going to have a very difficult time. No matter how much video you send, you have to go to ID camps. If you don't go to ID camps, it will not work. One of the things we strongly encourage you to do early on is create a list of NAIA schools because of scholarship. International players are much more accepting by NAIA schools, and we put that on your list. So the answer to your question is, yes, you can update your highlight video if it's better than the clips already there. That's number one. And if you're not sure, we will help you with that. Go ahead and edit the video, and we will tell you whether we want it to be different based off of what you submit to us. That's number one. Number two is if you plan to make another video, which I hope you do with this better competition, please make a new video, call it an every touch video or a highlight video of the spring. And to be completely transparent with you, coaches don't want any more highlight videos. Once they've seen one highlight video or you've submitted one highlight video to them, even if they haven't watched it, they don't want to see it updated. They don't want to see any clips that they've already seen again ever. So that, I think, should answer this question. Then, lastly, when my dad sat down with you over Zoom to discuss the CSG Academy back then, my father asked the question, how long should I be in this program? We believe responded with 3 to 6 months. It has now been 8 months, and I feel stuck and confused. What would you recommend best for right now? So good question, Robbie. So if you're feeling stuck and that you've mentioned at the beginning that this has been really helpful, but that you're feeling stuck, then at this time, maybe we should part ways. We've helped you as much as we can up to this point, and we should part ways, which would be very reasonable. If you go, look, this has been really helpful, like today's little video, that's been really helpful. It's really cleared things up. You know, what we do, we're an education service. We're here to guide you through the recruiting process. You come to the meetings, you ask us questions, we tell you what to do proactively, and then we help answer your questions through this process. Your biggest dilemma that I see, having looked through all your documents and all your Discord stuff, is you have to go to college ID camps if you want to play college soccer. And if you want to go pro using our method, you're going to have to play college soccer. So the big factor here is, which schools do you need to prioritize? We need you to get interest from the Division 3s, Division 2s, then Division 1s, and you have to go to their ID camps. If you say, Zev, I don't want to go to ID camps, it's too far, it's too expensive, then at that point, our method won't work to the degree we want it to. Also, we have to be open-minded to the NAIA schools. So that is the main message is where, Robbie, it's up to you. You know what we provide. If you go, we want more help, we are here to help you. If you go, you know what, you've helped us so much, but at this point, we're going to take it into our own hands. We've learned so much. Thank you. That's where we are. We're an education service, and we have been educating you for 8 months, and you've improved so much along the way and gotten interest. But the big thing is you must be seen in front of these coaches. I'll copy your father on this email as well, because we want you guys to be involved. And, you know, if there's any other questions, we want them answered because we want to help you in the right direction. So in saying this, the big thing is you've done a great job here, and we've helped you, you know, every step of the way with all your questions and how to email schools. We have to get seen by them in person. If you don't get seen by them in person, you will not be getting recruited. So the big question for you is, what would you like to do given that knowledge, and where do you see the steps? There will be some camps in the fall that you will have to go to. And The question is then we want to focus on which of those schools. You've done a really good job contacting these schools, but they have to see you in person many times over. And because you're from Canada, the only way really to do that is many videos as you're doing with your Instagram, etc., and camps. If you want help like this and you want to ask us questions like this, given your Canadian situation, please give me a call. You'll see how to do it down below. And I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you. Thanks so much for your time. Talk soon.